Hey, it's Josh with Pro Team Collision, and this week's Pro Team Pro Tip. Today we are jumping cars. So we're going to be jumping cars today. What is the right way to do it, and how can you do it safely? If you have a jump box, this is always going to be one of the safest ways to do it because you're not hooking it up to another vehicle. So whenever you're hooking up any battery cables, you always connect the positive first. That way, if you have the negative already connected and the positive were to touch anywhere on the vehicle, it could spark or create a safety issue. So you connect the positive, then you can connect the negative, and then you can turn on the jump box. If you don't have a jump box, then you're gonna need another vehicle and jumper cables. First, you are going to connect the jumper cables to the donor vehicle. So when you're working with the jumper cables, they can be hanging, dangling, and they can bump into each other, and that could spark or create a safety issue. So again, we wanna make sure we keep them separate. So I always connect the positive to my shirt just so that they're separated from each other. Now we wanna connect the jumper cables to the donor vehicle. So again, you always start with the positive connection. Make sure you have a good connection. Sometimes you have to wiggle the jumper cables or clean the terminals a little bit so that you have a really good connection. Then you can connect the negative to the negative side of the battery, or if you have a ground somewhere else close to the battery, you can connect it to that as well. Next, you're going to go back to the vehicle that you're trying to jump, and you take the positive and hook it to the positive. And the negative, it's typically best to try to find a really good ground around the battery so you don't have an accidental spark over top of a battery that has a known issue. If the battery's dead, there's likely a known issue. There could be gases and it could be a safety issue. So if you have a really good stud that's close to the battery, you can even use the engine. Non-coated hardware will typically be a good jumping point. Once you have this all hooked up, you're going to go back to the donor vehicle and let the vehicle run for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how dead the battery really is. Once you've had the donor vehicle running for about 5 to 10 minutes, then you can go back and try to start the vehicle with the dead battery. Make sure the donor vehicle is off before you attempt to start the dead vehicle so you don't get a battery surge going back in and creating any other types of issues on that donor vehicle. Once you have attempted to start the vehicle and have it running, then you can go in reverse order and start with the negative cable, positive cable on the car that you jumped, then negative cable, positive cable on your donor vehicle. And that's how you're supposed to jump a car.